How do you live a truly great life? Is it about going to the right school, landing the perfect job, maybe marrying the perfect person? Do you have kids or not have kids? Maybe you need to do a daily cold plunge, hop in the sauna, take up real estate investing? Or maybe you just need to listen to the right TED Talk. Okay, well, at least listen to this one. See, for all the good that our internet age has facilitated, it can often muddy the waters on this fundamental human question. There's no shortage of advice or solutions online, but you need more than a few inconsistent life hacks from an influencer or internet guru. You need a strategy, an actual approach to facilitate a genuinely great life. If you want to live a great life, then you need to consistently live great days. And the good news is that this is possible for you, regardless of your circumstances or situation. You don't simply need to have a good day or have a bad day. You can choose to make a great day. At its core, make a great day is the acknowledgement of three simple ideas. First, it is a reminder that the totality of your life is nothing more and nothing less than the accumulation of your days. Second, it is a suggestion that the quality of your life needs not, and in many ways cannot be, dependent upon your circumstances. And third, it's the claim that the responsibility of your life is to see the dignity in the ordinary experiences, the ordinary moments of your everyday life. I have vivid memories of going to see my dad at work as a kid. My mom and I would pull up to Holston Valley Hospital, walk through the main doors, past the receptionist desk on our left, all the way to the stainless steel elevator doors in the back. I would mash the button for the second sub-basement, and down we'd float. At the bottom, there were two options. Down the sterile hall to the left was the internal auditing department, which was my dad's office. Down the hall to the right was an ominously locked door labeled morgue. It took me an embarrassingly long time to realize it wasn't exactly a normal office arrangement. My dad, though, cheerily optimistic. As he would have put it, it's the best real estate you can have because the neighbors are just dying to get in. I remember when his office moved, though. I was 16, and the hospital administration, very logically, to my mind, moved the internal auditors off-site with the rest of the corporate finance team. I was a new driver who could only borrow the car if I dropped my dad off at work. We'd pull up to the doors outside his office. He'd open the passenger door, hop out. Every day, he'd turn and look at me and say, "Make a great day." Now, of course, as a teenager, this was a fairly innocuous saying, just some trite cliche that my dad would say because, well, he's my dad, and that's the kind of thing that dads say. And as a teenager, I was already predisposed to not really listen to what my parents had to say because they were my parents. And what could they possibly know about what I'm going through in life? But over the years, I did in fact come to that stunning realization that my parents knew a thing or two. See, it was May 2011, and my dad was back at Holston Valley Hospital, but this time, he was a patient in Wilcox Hall, the cancer ward. The doctors were trying to figure out how to stem the spread of the prostate cancer that he'd been diagnosed with a few years earlier. And I remember him sitting on the hospital bed. He was cracking jokes with the nurses, harassing the doctors, asking about my plans for the upcoming school year, praying for my recently surgically repaired knee. And somewhere deep down, I just wondered, how? How can he be doing this? How is he okay right now? I don't think I'm okay right now. How is he staying so positive in the midst of this? So I asked, "Hey, Dad, how are you doing this? Like, how are you staying positive?" To which he just looked me square in the eyes and said, "Make a great day." What's that mean? Was what I said back. To which he took a deep breath and said, "Hey, pal, you can have a good day. You can have a bad day, but you can always choose to make a great day." See, for him, make a great day was far more than a cliche. This was a compelling strategy for a life worth living, and that moment marked the beginning of a realization for me. As I've grown in my understanding and practice of this in the years since, it's carried me through some really good days. And honestly, it's carried me through some really bad ones too. It's my hope that it can do the same for you, regardless of your circumstances. Annie Dillard wrote that how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. So it only stands to reason then that a great life is made of great days. But herein lies our problem. Because we live in a world that's trained us to think that greatness is found in the extravagant and extraordinary. The best days are the biggest days. Births and graduations, weddings, promotions, mountaintop moments that transcend the mundane. But those days in my life are pretty few and far between. Most days consist of waking up way earlier than I'd like and trying to have a few moments for a workout, maybe some quiet before the kids get up and the rush of the day begins. It's then making coffee and breakfast and lunches and getting them out the door so they're not late for school. Then it's back home to change diapers and answer emails and make plans and schedule meetings and then do a little writing maybe. And then get distracted by the squirrels climbing up and down the oak tree in my backyard and wondering how on earth can squirrels climb upside down on oak tree branches? How strong must their tiny little squirrel hands be to be able to do that upside down? So then you Google it, because what else would you do? And then get lost in Google. And an hour later, come back to the realization that I have endless laundry and paying bills and reels to watch for my wife and dinner and dishes and bedtimes. These are the moments that make my days. They're not going to register on anyone's radar of significant accomplishments. They're not Instagram worthy. These are the moments that make my days. And if I want my days to be great, then it might just be worthwhile to see these moments as having a greater and deeper meaning and significance. Frederick Buechner said it well. Listen to your life. See it for the fathomless mystery that it is, because in the last analysis, all moments are key moments, and life itself is a grace. But one of my persistent struggles, if I'm being honest, is when those moments in my life are not good. When my days are not going the way that I'd like, when my circumstances are not what I'd hope they'd be. Is it possible to make a great day when you're having an objectively bad one? Viktor Frankl was a Jewish psychologist and a Holocaust survivor who wrote the landmark book, Man's Search for Meaning. One of his primary theories was that a driver for human flourishing is the pursuit of meaning, regardless of circumstance. Based on his own experiences and observations, he shared this idea. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Over the course of your life and the course of each individual day, you'll have very little control over much of what happens to you. You have no control over globalization or the weather, no control over federal laws or social media algorithms. You have no control over what wars nations fight or don't fight. You have no control over injustice that happens in another part of the country or another part of the world. You have no control over the price of oil, the price of electricity, the price of eggs, the price of pretty much everything. And you definitely do not have control over the guy who cut you off in traffic on the way here. But in the midst of any circumstance, you have control of your attitude. You can choose your own way through it. You can control the words that come out of your mouth, the way you choose to treat other people, the thought patterns that you will consistently entertain. You can choose whether or not you're going to doom scroll or whether or not you're going to compare your life to that guy from high school with perfect hair and perfect teeth. All of that is a choice. So wise Army chaplain I once knew said, it's not about what's happening to you, but about what's happening in you that really matters. You are responsible for this one life that you've been given. And if you want to live a great life, then you need to consistently live great days, which means those days must be filled with meaningful moments. So the pathway, regardless of your circumstances, to making a great day begins by accepting that responsibility to find the dignity in the ordinary moments, in the ordinary people that you encounter every single day. And fortunately, there's no shortage of these around you if you just have the eyes to see it. Those moments like waking up early can become an opportunity for gratitude that, in fact, I did wake up in the morning, and the birds are singing in the dark outside my window. Changing diapers can become an opportunity to be grateful that I have kids to change diapers for. Laundry can be a reminder that fresh starts in life are underrated, and even that oak tree in my backyard can shift from a pollinator and a leaf dropper and a squirrel playground into a source and a reminder of consistency and stability in an often confusing and chaotic world. No otherwise mundane moment, no seemingly chance circumstance needs to be devoid of meaning and purpose. Perhaps the most gloriously ordinary stuff of all isn't really stuff. It's people. That when you put your phone down and you choose to pay attention to the people around you, you see them for all the wonder and mystery and complexity they bring, something shifts in you. You begin to pay less attention to yourself, to your worries, your fears, your problems, your circumstances. You begin to pay more attention to them, their hopes, their dreams, their potential, their possibility. You can choose to add value to the world around you by investing in people. You can see them, do good to them, pay attention to them. All of that is a choice that you can make every single day. It was June 2011, and my dad would make one final trip down to the second subbasement. But this time, the hospital staff would turn right off the elevator instead of left. And I wondered, in the years since, if that office down the hall from the morgue influenced his philosophy of make a great day. If the daily reminder of life's brevity gave urgency to valuing each day in a new way. There's a verse of ancient Hebrew poetry that says, "Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." Your life is the accumulation of your days. And if you want to live a great life, then you need to consistently live great days. And this is possible for you regardless of your circumstances or situation. You don't have to become a casualty of whatever might happen to you in the midst of any hardship, any suffering, any challenge that you might face before you. You can choose your way. You have the remarkable opportunity to see the dignity in the ordinary experiences, the ordinary moments, the ordinary people that you encounter every single day, because there is dignity in the ordinary stuff of life. You can have a good day. You can have a bad day. But today, you can choose to make a great day. Thank you.